Hi, this is Ella. I'm here because I'm very excited to tell you about an event that I have coming up. It's called New Earth Nights. New Earth Nights is all about building a more harmonious new world from the inside out. And it's about bringing conscious leaders with sustainable, new, groundbreaking ideas to a wider audience to ground and build a new earth from the inside out. New Earth Nights will start this December the 12th and it will be at the Leela Centre on Oxford Street in Sydney. If you see yourself as a leader of a whole new conscious and sustainable paradigm, a new harmonious world or earth, this is for you. So we'd love if you could join us. I'll put a link in the show notes for the event, and if you're interested in more New Earth Nights, please subscribe to our Facebook page and we'd love to see you there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you. And we'll get on with the episode.
Rolling our microphone.
Camera's rolling, I'm pretty sure.
What if it's not?
It is.
Can't have an I guess.
It is. It's got record.
Okay.
This is the Atlas Emotion series, where we share edge of the earth ideas for a new world. Hello and welcome to another Atlas Emotion Series podcast. My name is Ella and I'm here today with two incredible friends. We're here to record a podcast which is called Our Personal Family, Our Global Family. And these guys are a recent family. Can you introduce yourselves for me?
My name is Justin.
And I'm Hala. And we are a married couple. With a baby, and she is almost 6 months old.
About to turn 6 months.
And we're here today because these guys have a passion to share with the world about the nature of raising family. The family calls.
The family calls. You can't hear it on the mic, but I am going to bring the one that started it all. I will be right back, but you guys keep talking.
So while Hala gets the third member of the family, we are here together because we're talking about our personal family, our global family. And basically what this episode came to me as an idea. I had the feeling that the relationship that I held to my parents, whether that was healthy or tenuous, is the same relationship that I carry out into the world. And so the way that we relate to our society and to each other is really about our personal relationships that we first established with our family. And so if we look at our world and we see the parts that are rougher or broken, and we see the parts that are harmonious, we can largely attest that to a healthy upbringing or an unhealthy upbringing. And so we're here today to talk about how do we really start with our personal family and then allow that to grow out to a global ecosystem that is much healthier and a true global family.
Indeed. This is our daughter, Alma. And yeah, she is a beautiful baby.
She's looking at her daddy. She loves her daddy so much.
Yes.
The way she looks at him is the way I wish everybody would look at one another.
Yes, she just woke up from her midday nap. Yes, parenthood is amazing.
Oh.
And off what Ella was saying about our family being our first basic influence in the world on how we are to interact with the world, and basically our belief systems, our ways of being will be passed on to our little girl here, and it's becoming aware of what belief systems don't really serve us and won't serve Alma in the future, and consciously changing those things and really leading by example and teaching her a greater way to live.
Something that came to me was was I wonder how different our lives would look if we were first raised on the principle that we are all connected, we are part of an ecosystem. Because the predominant belief system is that it's survival of the fittest. And a lot of the beliefs that we've had to unravel as an adult were based on that. But how different would the world look if we started with the belief that we are all connected?
There'd definitely be no war or people just trying to get on top of each other, and it would be a real cohesive and connected world, a connected family, a connected global family.
How are you passing this belief onto her that we are all connected?
I feel it's definitely it's what we say, it's what we do, it's how we think, it's on all levels of our being, and that's basically how it's passed on. It's not really, oh, this is how it's passed on. It's a natural, I guess, just a natural giving.
Yeah, and this ties in with something that I was talking about in another podcast. But children are constantly observing us and what we're doing. And we don't have to, sit them down and tell them, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. They can see and they can make inferences themselves based off of our actions. And then it's also a bonus to just sit your child down, even if they're not at an age where they can actually speak, because they still understand, and communicating it to them directly as well, not just subtly and letting them make inferences. It's also the message. So it's a combination of your words, but also your actions, acting out those words.
Yeah, a child doesn't come in knowing the English language or any language except energy and understanding energy and feeling energy, seeing energy, being around that energy is what is transferred into our children of the future.
Because this is the language that they communicate with, a child can feel connected, they can feel safe, they can feel trusting and secure. If you, as parents or as a community, create an atmosphere of welcoming, accepting, and available energy, you're available for them energetically, so they feel energetically safe, held, space is held for them to be witnessed and acknowledged and cared for.
I'm so amazed because that's the next point I was going to raise about being held. So for me, as I was getting the insights for this episode, I wrote this down. Imagine a personal family unit where each of us feels totally held, and how fulfilling these relationships would be, and a world where this is the case also. So predominantly what we see often in the world is the manifestation of children who are now adults who weren't held as children. And for me, how I've addressed this, there are certain parts of my journey where I've truly felt unheld, and I've, as an adult, chosen to see myself, under a tree that loves me, and really imagine being held. How are you guys showing her what it is to truly feel held? How is that teaching you as well about holding yourself?
You can start, and then I'll.
Yeah, I think it's a very natural process in my own experience. Like, there are books out there, there are things that people say, but at the end of the day, our intuition and what we feel is right is basically how we do it. The way we really are doing it is by living through our heart. So living through our heart and living with the intention of holding her in that safe space of unconditional love and acceptance not only teaches it not only imparts on her, but it's an impact on within our own lives to do that within ourselves and to our own inner child.
Let's say your child is crying, because babies cry. And let's say you've done everything that you can and your baby's still crying, because let's face it, sometimes they're just going to cry because they can't yet communicate what it is that they need. So what I wanted to say is the physical act of holding your child, just holding them and letting them cry, and being there and letting them know that, yes, I know that you're crying and there's something frustrating you, and we've done everything that we can to try and remedy that, but you're still crying, but it's okay. I'm just going to hold you anyway, and I'm going to stay with you until you feel like you've had enough crying. That in itself is powerful, because not only does your child learn that you're there for them, but they also learn that it's okay for them to cry. Nothing, it's not a terrible, distressing thing to cry. It makes them comfortable with their emotions. If you, as the mirror, are comfortable with them crying as well. You know how a lot of parents say, oh, no, don't cry to their kids. I feel like essentially the message that is bringing, even though it's not an intentional message, what that message is telling the child is, I'm not okay with you crying right now because I'm not comfortable, and therefore you shouldn't be comfortable with your discomfort.
So what I've found recently is that I see that the world that we live in is largely a world of adults, in many cases, that don't feel held, and have that feeling of not being held as a child within them. And so there's this constant feeling of insecurity, there's this constant feeling of lack of support. And I personally felt like I was looking for money, but what I was actually looking for was a family. And as I've been able to hold myself more and more, hold that inner child more and more, I've met people like you guys, and I've met many, many others who now form my global family. They are my soul family. But they've only come forward as I've been able to hold myself first. I guess the center point here is talking about holding and the nature of first holding yourself and being present in the moment and the impact of that flowing on. So this relates obviously to a family, because when you feel held as a child and you continually feel held, then the impact on your adult life is remarkable, because you know that you are held and you know you are supported, and what ends up happening is resources and things manifest a lot easier. So if you haven't had that childhood of being held, it is about learning and visualizing being held in all those moments and having that gratitude, as you're talking about, gratitude for each moment. As I've experienced and met my global family, I've found that it wasn't about me completely holding myself, but realizing that I am part of something bigger, and they hold me as well. So do you want to talk to me a little bit about your experience with that as well, feeling held by a greater family?
You know the saying, it takes a village. When you connect with people, whether they be joined to you by family blood or they are joined to you as soul friends, when you bring everybody that you love together into one space, and you do that because you love them all and you just want them all to be there, And then they all come, despite all of them coming from different walks of life. For me, that is something that really helps me to feel really held, because these are people that would have otherwise never met each other, and possibly never even, if they did meet each other, they never would have been friends. But they came anyway for me, and that would make me feel held. And it's just to bring everybody that I connected with together.
I feel everything happens for a reason, and those experiences and those beliefs, whether we choose to or not, can be worked through, and we can create a life that really, I guess, supports us. So supports us in being able to feel the way we want to feel, and how we want to show up in the world. For me, all of these experiences in life have brought the right people, the right energy, the right moments in life, really, to, I guess, learn from life's lesson of each moment.
How do you guys see a different world? I know in the past you've both shared a vision of community. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
It's really a global community that is connected to the point of really wanting to see benefit for our fellow being, really.
What I see is communities where there is greenery. There are people living reasonably close to each other, like neighbors, except everybody knows everyone. Every person has their own signature essence, and they are known for that. You feel held, and you feel known, and you feel understood. And there's some very cool, fruits and vegetables growing, and
Advanced technology.
advanced technology, and sustainable
Sustainable everything.
and like sustainable homes, and building homes together. And it's a very colorful and fantastic vision. I don't want to call it a fantasy, because I would love for it to be a reality, and it is in some places.
So a phrase came to me a little while back to surrender a world of rejection, to completely let go of the world that we've created, which is a world of rejection in a lot of ways. Sort of the first port of call for us is to recognize whether our heart is captured by neediness or unworthiness, or whether it's captured by solitude, warmth, and worth. And so for me, the journey to the big vision is really about allowing our hearts to every day and every moment be captured by solitude, warmth, and worth, a sense of worth. What are the little things that you do each day to support that journey?
Every day, bettering not only ourselves but our relationship, and it's something we, rather than telling people what to do or saying, oh, we're so great and all of this, it's not. It's just living life to our best ability, living the best relationship we can, like putting our relationship, Hala and I, number one, and knowing that everything will follow. Everything will be good from there. So it's something we just have to really live and be, and share with the world by being it, and showing that there is alternative ways of parenting, ways of being in a relationship, ways of looking at life.
Yeah, and I love what Justin said. I love it so much. And if I was to add anything, the word would be vulnerability. So if we can be vulnerable, real, and raw when we share with others, whether it's, one-on-one with other friends, or if it's through a podcast like this, it's to be vulnerable and to be real. It really does expand your community and that connection, and it really does help to create that kind of big family that we're talking about. So being vulnerable.
As we move closer to who we truly are as beings, what impact we want to make in the world, what we want to experience, how we want to share that experience, the global community will naturally form. It's something that is really quite inevitable, in a way that this is something that there is a huge need and a massive longing for, because as humans we crave that connection with people who are like-minded, who believe and see similar visions. And like you were saying before, it's not about us being solo anymore and doing it on our own, but finding the people and then finding you, and just really attracting each other into each other's lives, and being as authentic and real and honest as possible.
This is a 3-part series, and what you guys just said is exactly where it all starts and ends. I started by sharing how the first thing is about us finding our personal voice and really deepening and embodying our own sense of what is true for us, that is truly loving ourselves. And then Hala and I chatted about really addressing the parts of ourselves and our greater world that perhaps are blocked by fears, and opening those up through inspiration, through reconnection. And then this episode was all about how when we are truly held, this just ripples out and flows out to a healthier, a more harmonious world. And if it's not something that you had the privilege of having as a child, there are opportunities and there are ways to truly feel that love in yourself, that gratitude and that holding in every moment. Because in my personal experience, I'm with these guys now because I first started by holding myself. I met them at Toastmasters, and I was actually about to do a speech on love, and love as being an ecosystem. Coincidental? Not at all. So I was feeling in that period of my life quite alone, and the passion that I had was for leadership, and Toastmasters came up and it was right down the road. And lo and behold, when I went to do a speech on love, these guys walked into my life. And then I went to Hala's 21st soon after that, and I met 5 of the most extraordinary people that were pivotal in my life. And so this really showed me how the ecosystem works. It starts with you and your own voice, and then others just like you will be attracted to you. And I felt so much part of a family since I've met these guys, and it's only just expanded, starting with these guys, really, to be honest. So thank you for that. Thank you for really starting to get me connected with a soul family. And now I'm just surrounded completely by a soul family, which is extraordinary.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, such a pleasure.
And thank you. She likes compliments. That's what I heard.
Yeah, she
It's
does.
true.
She just smiled when you thanked her.
Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.